Okay. Welcome everyone to Alice in Renderland. We're testing it out. Okay, shall we start?
Yeah.
Hi everyone. My name is Nikki. I'm the customer experience lead here at Looking Glass Factory. Today I have with me here Missy, who is dialing in her new role as creative technologist. Some of you may already know her. And over the next few months, she'll be primarily creating and experimenting with an array of software tools that we have here at Looking Glass, along with some other 3D creation tools from the community, all in the pursuit of making really cool holograms. So our goal here really is to start sharing some of the behind the scenes process, because I think what we've realized over time is, we just drop some holograms and then we don't really talk about how they're made. So we're particularly excited to share this process with you. And I know you're going to be really inspired by everything that Missy creates. And in case this goes on YouTube, I have to say, please like, share, and subscribe. Yeah, I think that's it, right? On YouTube. I guess like there's a ring the bell portion, but anyways, we'll get there someday. Some of you might also be here because you know that we just re-released our Blender plugin. This is a super special project because it was a culmination of sort of a plugin that we made with Gottfried and from the community, and also Christian from the community. So it was, it was sort of us coming together to make sure that we don't have two Blender plugins floating around. And so this is Alice LG 2.0. We re-released it. I think about 2 weeks ago to some super positive feedback. And because of this, we decided why not put Missy's creative noggin on this journey to explore how to use this tool. So without further ado, I'm gonna hand it over to Missy so she can tell us how she went from Unity dev to Blender head in just 2 weeks time. So Missy.
I mean, first of all, I just want to say baby blender head. That's I'm a small blender head.
Small noggin.
Um Small noggin, small noodle. Um yeah, thanks for the intro, Nikki. I hope I live up to expectations in this process overview of how I learned Blender enough in 2 weeks to create my first robot and pull it into the looking glass portrait. Um, Blender's really cool, as I wrote here. I think it's really awesome that this software is free. And what's really cool too, on top of that, is there's so many artists and devs and enthusiasts that are out here on the interwebs, super ready to support, ask questions, and provide tutorials of their process, and how to do anything. So it's a really rich world of uh, anyone that wants to create 3D worlds and even 2D worlds with stuff like grease pencil
Mm.
and stuff. But yeah, so when I first took on this endeavor, I was really excited. I had had the opportunity to work with a lot of really amazing Blender artists during the Kickstarter campaign when we were trying to showcase that you can take your Blender work and easily display it in the looking glass portrait. So after that, I have a background in Unity development as a game designer, a game dev. And so when I use 3D modeling software, I primarily used it to, create worlds. The software wasn't the end for me. It was always
Mm-hmm,
the
mm-hmm,
Unity had the end for me. So
mm-hmm.
I was excited to make Blender become the end product for me, the final Blender render in the looking glass. So I follow a lot of really cool tutorials, primarily as Mini.gif at the very beginning. I became a Patreon for her tutorials that are in English and Spanish, and she's a really amazing teacher. I just want to say that. And my first task that I created for myself, which I'm pretty proud of, is I decided, okay, I'll make a fictional makeup line
Mhm.
because those 3D shapes are pretty easy to create, but hard enough to have to really understand how rendering works, how materials work, how to actually make more complicated shapes within the simple shapes. And so this was like my first couple of days in Blender. I was making my fictional makeup line Dolphin, um, Dollfin, trademarked. Um, and then I continued on really focusing on this Blender for Beginners tutorial by Mar, this Easy Froggy, and that honestly is my, you know, I'm gonna bow down to this tutorial because I learned so much. People are really out here making great art and then also happen to be amazing teachers. It's wild.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so, you know, I have a lot of notes on this notion. I think we're going to share this after, but I won't go into too detail. The thing I will say is save your project in Blender. If you're new to
Mhm.
Blender, you just need to know. You need to save it because I actually didn't start with a makeup line. I started with a 90s toy that I thought was simple, and then I lost it and it's gone forever. And I was too sad to start it again because I spent too much time on it. So just save your project.
We've been spoiled by Google Docs and Notion auto-saving everything for us.
Yeah,
I hope the next generation remembers to save.
honestly, I feel like the next generation's not going to ever have to save. And
You
we're going
think
to be
so?
like, when we're old, being like, back in my day, we used to have to
Remember when we
save.
lost all our projects?
Remember Control S to remember.
Do
They're
you
going to
remember the time
saving your project in
in
Blender.
Blender?
Da, 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 da.
TM.
Yeah. So anyway, I decided to really closely make my project align with the tutorial Easy Froggy.
Mhm.
And so I made a concept drawing of my robot. Side note, I'm really trying to learn how to illustrate better.
Mhm.
So this was also really fun for me. Um,
And
and then I used,
not necessary, right? Because I remember starting Mars tutorial too, and if you don't wanna you wanna save this step, you can actually just model the froggy that she has. So you could base it off of her provided froggy drawing.
yeah, I mean, that's what I did too. I used her froggy drawing to really like internalize all of the steps.
Right,
But
right, right.
even you don't even have to draw your own stuff. You can like I don't know, have a friend draw something for you, find something
Mm,
on Google. Like if you're
right.
trying to make a
Yeah.
photorealistic
Yeah.
fish, you're probably gonna use a real fish.
That's a good
But
idea.
this is just something that I challenge myself to do.
It's
And
cute.
so I laid out the plan. It was to model the robot,
Mm-hmm.
add materials to the robot, and rig the robot.
Three
And
steps, three easy steps.
three easy steps. Modeling the robot was a big long step, I'll say. But yeah, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about like some really cool add-ons that you can
Mm,
use in Blender. That's where I got the round cubes from. Is that doing
mm-hmm.
this like extra mesh add-on
Mm,
and modifiers like the mirror
mm-hmm.
modifier, the subdivision modifier.
Mm.
Definitely never gonna live without them again, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
mirroring is such a wild concept, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, it just immediately makes everything symmetrical for you, and I
I
don't
know.
understand. I wish you could mirror it when you draw,
In
but I
2D?
could turn on.
Are you
I
sure
wish that.
do you does Procreate not have something like that? It seems like
Uh,
such a useful tool for anything, like any sort of creation of characters.
I mean, if someone's listening to this slash watching this and they know about
Yeah.
a mirror tool in Procreate, please let me know. But
Yeah.
no, usually I just lasso tool, copy and paste,
Ah,
and then flip it onto
reflect.
the.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And still,
So what is this that I see here on the left? The little GIF that you have of the Looking Glass.
So this is my shaky cam view of the looking glass while I was modeling in Blender.
We're gonna.
Um,
This is our first video, guys. We'll we have to work up to getting the right tools and buying the tools. We have to prove our success first.
yeah, so in full form, I totally forgot that maybe I should have an iPhone stand to record. And so with my left hand, I held I'm right-handed. With my left hand, I held the phone to record this, and with my right hand, I tried to make some basic shapes to show that you can actually see
Hmm.
your view live in the looking glass while you're modeling, which is really handy because this is a camera's view.
Yeah.
So as you're like making the composition and stuff, you can I don't know, really go ham in there. But yeah, this is the model as I'm modeling it in the looking glass.
I love it.
Uh, yeah, and then I think the coolest thing that I did, I
Yeah,
followed
yeah,
another tutorial.
I was gonna say the robot that I have sitting on my desk right now is clothed. So can you tell me a little bit more about this dress that you made?
Yeah, so I listed all the tutorials that I really closely followed in this Notion doc, and I'm happy to share them again. But I followed another 3D robot, like cute 3D robot tutorial
Mm-hmm.
with an artist that made a transparent raincoat on their
Mm.
robot, and I was like, well, of course, my robot needs clothes too.
Mm.
And so I basically added a mesh and a cloth modifier, cloth
Mm.
physics like modifier to it, and that's how I got this cloth shape that I ended up having to manipulate into like
Mm-hmm.
a cute little dress.
Right.
Um,
It's
yeah,
so
but
satisfying to watch it just fall.
yeah, isn't it
Yeah,
crazy?
it's mesmerizing.
Yeah, I feel like I would love to see if this would translate to Unity, but we'll see. We'll
Mm.
see. And then UV unwrapping and texture painting was actually something that I was most excited to learn because
Mm.
I think people have a lot of healthy respect for UV unwrapping and make it seem like this really hard, crazy thing that you can never do unless you're born in a UV unwrapping genius. And honestly, Mar just broke it down and was like, "Yeah,
Mm.
this is it." And now I feel like I can UV unwrap the world. But
Ooh, that's a great. If you leave with anything today, go UV unwrap the world.
UV unwrap the world. That's my
Yeah.
next EP. Um, but yeah, I'm pretty good about setting like goals that are simple
Mm.
enough but hard enough for me to tackle. So a lot of my drawings on the robot and the color choices are really simple. So it
Right.
was really easy to make this texture paint this. The one thing that I did do wrong,
Mm.
or that I would have done differently,
Mm.
because everything is a learning opportunity,
So
is
so true.
is I got lazy when making some of the like added uh features on the robot. So like the goggles
Mm.
and like the headpiece and the hands and stuff I just added onto the
Mhm.
model.
Mhm.
And so once I joined them together, it messed up how I textured the entire robot. So I had to go back and like come up with some quick solutions to uh, retexture it. But
Mhm.
you know, c'est la vie.
You
Um,
live and then you learn.
yeah, and it wasn't that crazy. I was just like, oh no, oh man, and then figured it out. Um, but yeah, and then after,
I love that
uh,
wire frame mesh. That looks really good in the looking glass.
yeah, it's really cool.
You take a
I would love someone to make a wireframe game in the Looking Glass BT dubs.
ooh.
I think it would be cool.
Someone being Missy.
I mean, it could be me, but I would also like to play it. That it's
True.
not my work.
True, true, true.
Um, but yeah, so after I painted the robot,
Mm-hmm.
I rigged the robot, which was pretty easy. I used an add-on that my partner showed me because he's actually a really amazing 3D modeler and animator already. And then added the like human skeleton to the robot,
Mhm.
and I forgot to record that, so that's why you're not seeing like any GIF about that process.
Mm.
But because I joined the added meshes after, it also caused some problems with the rigging, so I had
Mhm.
to go in and weight paint and figure out how to make the robot look a little more natural when I posed it
Mhm.
for its final pose.
We,
Um,
we did this video once, so in that one I asked about weight paint. I don't know if we need to
mhm.
go into it again, but
No, no.
no, no. Yeah, weight paint.
Yeah.
Look it up. Look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool though. It'll all make sense.
So yeah, so then I posed robot, put the dress back on, made
The
it the
dress looks
shiny and
so cool.
transparent. Right?
I
Isn't
mean,
it
it
cute?
just, I mean, that's the thing. I'm gonna come out here and just talk about the looking glass because, I mean, what's so cool about putting something like this, especially this dress and having all these reflections and specular reflections in the looking glass, is that like it looks like there's an actual object in here because as you move the looking glass, and you'll see this in the gift, the lighting changes. So it's like as if this object is in the real world and reacting to the light in the real world. So um, I mean, this was such a good example, and we'll obviously share the downloadable hot file for everyone to pull into their looking glass, if you have one, and if you don't, what are you waiting for? But I think what we forgot to do last time is sort of talk about, and I think we'll shoot another video about this for y'all, but sort of how do you frame you know, how do you do composition in a looking glass? So walk us through sort of what's going on here, you know, what's in, you know, how do you make something look good?
So there's actually a couple of best practices when you're framing something like this in the looking glass that we've discovered, I think, internally, and also other people have discovered externally in our community, and we've like internalized. But one thing for sure is to uh I think have a background that
Mm,
the character or the object is pretty close to,
mm,
so that it can cast a nice shadow on the background.
yeah, that
This is
really
actually,
helps.
yeah, it really helps like just it feel like it's alive on your
Mm-hmm.
desk.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is actually maybe,
It's kind of like using the box format to your advantage, right? Because like, you know, we always talk about floating holograms and like midair, thin air, but I think like, you know, doing something like this really takes advantage of the fact that like there is this like box and like there is this like virtual object that's floating inside of it.
yeah, definitely. Um, Yeah, and then speaking to your point before about shininess or like
Mm-hmm.
how shiny the dress is,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that also really like, this isn't like always have shiny objects in the looking glass. Like this is not that, but when you do have shininess or like
Mm-hmm.
reflective material in the looking glass, that also helps,
Mm-hmm.
I think, make it really feel 3D, because
Mm-hmm.
the cool thing about reflective material is that when you move, the reflectivity moves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that's what happens here,
Yeah.
as you can see in the video, is it comes to life. The
Right.
material
Right.
comes to life. And so I actually I did that with the dress, and I also tried to do that a little bit with the floor and make the
Oh.
floor a reflective,
Oh.
transparent
Oh
material
yeah.
so that you can see that. Yeah.
I mean, even the robot's like head, right, is a little bit shiny almost.
Hmm.
And I think what's important in the lesson that you gave to us internally about how to make 3D objects look good is lighting. Like I think there's really good lighting in this scene.
Yeah, lighting is, I mean, that was actually, that's a, I would like to bring that up. It was hard to figure out what is good lighting for a final render for me in Blender, because
Mm,
I'm used to, I don't know what the I don't I would love to hear anyone's thoughts on what the difference is
mm,
between like Unity and Blender, but
mm-hmm,
I found it a lot harder to really understand what was too blown out and what
mm-hmm,
was nice for the final render.
mm-hmm,
Um, so yeah, I think in this scene I have an area light to try to light up the background a little bit. I have a
Mm-hmm.
point light at the front, and then I have like the world, like the studio light from the world, like bumped up a little bit
Cool.
so
Yeah.
that it really like um, is bright enough, but also feels real in the scene.
Awesome. Yeah, no, it's a super neat scene, and I think for this is our first episode here. Ooh, what is that? Oh, the TikTok. We're gonna link to the TikTok here, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna plug my TikTok at Kid Psychic. I have some process videos on there and a process video for this. Um,
3D influencer.
oh my God. But if you like this stuff, like, comment on TikTok, let us know here, like, what you want to see more of for sure.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I'd be happy to share the process behind
Hmm.
me tackling it, or if I already know it pretty well, just show the process behind what I do.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, I want to also take this moment to open up the second tab you have on your window over there. Maybe do a soft plug for some of the artists we mentioned during the our video here. So this was Cute Pack. It's part of something we call hologram drops. We do this every 2 weeks or so, where we either internally create some content or find some creators in the community who make content and ask them to share, ask their permission to be able to share their downloadable artwork for others in the Looking Glass community. So these are all downloadable to view in your Looking Glass if you have a Looking Glass portrait. And in this particular drop, we actually feature some stuff from Yasmin and Mar. And yeah, it was a labor of love that Missy and I spent a few months on. And we're really, really excited about how it turned out because some of this work, well, all of this work is incredible.
yeah, it really also inspired me to make my cute work.
Yeah.
So shout out to all the artists here.
Make holograms cute again. And yeah, so and some of the stuff was made on Blender, some of the stuff was made in Cinema 4D. But since we don't have a Cinema 4D plugin just quite yet, we did pull that into Unreal, and that looked amazing. So as you see here, I think Space Snap was pulled from Cinema 4D into Unreal, and if you scroll up a little bit, I think so were two of Christina's pieces, Dim Sum and In the Mood for Self-Love. And Dim Sum is actually an animation too, which is super, super neato. So yeah, I think let us know if you have any questions. Let us know what you want to see more of. And we will be back. And I'm gonna hint that perhaps the robot will return in a future episode in some way, shape, or form. I'm not trying to reveal anything, but like I think you always have to leave off with a trailer. All right, well, thank you so much, Missy.
Thank you, Nikki.
Have fun. What should our sign off be? Should we have a sign off?
In the name of the moon, I will process you.
Okay, we'll add some outro music over that.
Hopefully Sailor Moon outro music.
Yeah, obviously. All right, bye everyone.
Bye.